I really want to dive into the story about Kunal Shah becoming WhatsApp's global CEO. So, essentially, to give the global audience a context of what CRED is all about and who Kunal Shah is. So, this guy built a company called Free Charge from the ground up to an exit of $400 million, which for an Indian startup is massive. And then he built CRED, which is essentially the largest credit transaction managing company in India at the moment. I mean, I think it has over 100 million users, if I'm not wrong. The most credit worthy users in India use that app. About 40% of all credit card payment transactions go through CRED. So a massive deal when it comes to just what CRED has been able to achieve. Now, Kunal Shah has been at the center of it, and now he's going into being WhatsApp CEOs, and Meta's putting money behind it. Now, to give both Paulina and Blake some context, because I don't know how much you guys use WhatsApp, but WhatsApp launched this payments feature, and the way payments work in India is specifically we have something called Unified Payment Infrastructure (UPI), which is basically I can send money to you directly from my bank account in like under a second, right? And that's a direct bank to bank transactions, no cards involved, no nothing. And that is, I think, the primary moat of the way people pay for anything, for groceries, for cabs, for I mean, nail polish, anything, right? And WhatsApp has been trying to enter into that market, but they've not been able to do it successfully. Even though they have half a billion, I think, monthly active users in India, it's just not been possible. So my assumption is that Kunal Shah has been bought on to lead that. But from a global perspective, obviously, as someone who doesn't know too much about Kunal or doesn't know too much about Cred, what do you guys think is the future of like when it comes to messaging native apps becoming the financial mode of payment for people across the globe? Paulina, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm into that. I mean, WeChat is one example, is it not? They're essentially what they're trying to do is WhatsApp becoming a WeChat, no? That's my take. And I think it depends on the country really because I live between Italy and Croatia in Slovenia. So I know that in Italy, Italians use WhatsApp for everything. All of their business is on WhatsApp. So if somebody would say, oh, you can have like a Stripe like integration with WhatsApp and just receive payments directly there, they will do it in a heartbeat. It's all about market fit. And given what CRED has achieved in that market, it seems like it could be a market fit. Just don't know how they feel about WhatsApp.
Yeah. Blake, what do you think?
I don't know. I've been in tech for a long time. I've been in crypto for a long time, and now we're doing this AI thing too. And I don't know. I mean, the irony of it all, right, is like Meta, the parent of WhatsApp, they were actually one of the inventors of the Libra stablecoin, which obviously didn't work. But then that created the movement language that became Sui, Movement, Aptos, all these other blockchains, and then now Stripe and as we all know, like whether however you feel about crypto, we all do know blockchain is still the future of payments and finance and stable coins. And I do find it interesting that WhatsApp is we're in a very different regulatory environment. We're a very different tech environment where these chains are fast and cheap enough to actually create these transactions. So on the one side, there's that. I do think Meta and WhatsApp will be able to adopt and integrate those things. But on the other hand, I think what I've seen in my career is like there's a big difference between the technology and the product and the actual go to market and the adoption. And I'm just frankly skeptical that people are going to want to pay through WhatsApp right now. I think there needs to be a much easier way to do it because being frank, I think Facebook had like Facebook payments a long time ago. I forget, but back when I used to use Facebook, I think Snapchat had a version of that. There's so many Apple, you can connect your Apple Pay. I've never paid anyone through messaging apps. WeChat in China is definitely a great example. And in Korea, which is where I'm originally from, and like Kakao, like people do pay each other in those. But I think it's very much like an Eastern versus Western thing in many senses. So I can only speak as an American. I just don't see that taking off in the US anytime soon. I could see opportunities across Africa and LATAM, where those types of things are very popular. Some parts of Europe for sure. So I think it'll be very much like a regional play. Um, yeah, and then there's a lot of other stuff around WhatsApp, and I will say like WhatsApp powers a lot of merchants. There's a whole lawsuit around WhatsApp, and what is it like their AI model, right? Like they're rolling out these agentified customer service agents, and they're fighting over the blah blah blah. So I think it'll happen, but I think it might be slower, maybe, and a lot more regional than you might think. Um, but obviously, payments are going to be a part of it. So, and if anyone can
Yeah.
pull it off, probably WhatsApp. I have been finding myself using a lot more now that I live in Portugal.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about this acquisition, which was the immediate thought in my mind first, was a large majority of WhatsApp users are Indian or in India. And another part of that is the CRED's user base is generally the more wealthier, the more well-to-do Indians, who pay their credit card bills regularly, redeem the rewards that that particular app gives out, and they've spent a bomb in terms of getting themselves integrated into that. I think they're probably one off, if not a major reason why credit cards and credit card usage has been, popular amongst Indians. Because in India, like the culture has always been to save money, to never go beyond your means, to taking on loans and credit isn't really, at least traditionally, something that's looked very well upon. Is generally looked down upon. So it's crazy to see what credit has been able to do, and then what WhatsApp is trying to do with it. And the even more interesting thing about this investment of, you know, into credit itself is cred and Kunal have publicly said there's not going to be any data sharing of the users of cred to WhatsApp.
Oh, said
We
anything
believe better,
else.
right? Whenever they say they're not sharing user data, we immediately
Of
buy into that.
course,
God
Of
forbid. God
course.
forbid. What do you mean? They're not collecting any data. They have nothing.
it's totally encrypted, guys. Just kidding. They're
Yeah.
turning off. Well, yeah, sure, we believe it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the conclusion is probably, especially having seen the same story in crypto, I think we are even more attuned to the fact that we can see the obvious shortcomings in this whole play, and it's even more interesting to see what comes out of it.